Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I am Hamza Idris. The political crisis between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the Rivers State House of Assembly has taken a new turn. The Supreme Court in Abuja has dismissed an appeal filed by Governor Fubara challenging the leadership of the Assembly. In a ruling delivered by a 5-member panel led by Justice Uwani Abajo on Monday, the court not only dismissed the appeal, but also ordered Governor Fubara to pay 2 million naira to the Assembly and its Speaker, Martin Ameule. This decision is a significant blow of salt to Governor Fubara, who has been locked in a power struggle with the Assembly since assuming office. The ruling raises questions about the balance of power between the executive and the legislative arm of government in Rivers State. And we have in the studio a lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Barrister Sam Kargbo, to put context to this drama in Rivers State. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We are really happy. We gave you short notice and you turned.
Yeah, you can see how tired I am.
Yes.
I've been on a 24 hours work mode.
24 hours? Maybe you are part of the lawyers for Rivers. No. I know you're always in the southwest. You have a lot of interest there.
Our job takes us around.
Everywhere.
Takes us around.
Okay. Of course, I didn't say it in the introductory part, but we know that the decision by the Supreme Court also followed the resolve by Yusuf Ali to withdraw the suit. Why do you think they withdraw the suit? Is it because they are aware that it will not really, the pendulum will not swing on their way?
No, it would be unfair to expect me to answer that question.
Because you're all science.
No.
Yesterday we brought an AIG, so it was very tough for him to call out what is happening in the police force.
I'm not serious of the facts.
Okay.
These are factual situations.
Okay.
But the only thing I can talk about is what the law says about issues of that nature.
Okay.
A party at every level of the litigation, from the High Court to the Supreme Court, you have the unfettered right to withdraw.
At any time, whether you think you will win or you will not win.
You have that discretion. No court can say, no, you can't. You understand? At every court, at every moment, you are the person who initiated the action. You are the complainant. So if at any point you feel that you've been advised, and the advice is one that you take seriously, and you feel the better option is to withdraw, you withdraw. But there are consequences, and depending on the rules of the court. In Abuja, for an example, there is a point at which, at the State High Court here, at which you can withdraw without actually getting the leave of the court. But there is a point whereby all parties have been served, and especially when the parties have responded and they've joined issues with you, you need the leave of the court to withdraw, because the withdrawal can either attract a dismissal or a striking out of the matter. If it is struck out, there is that opportunity and that option for you to file again, provided you meet the requirement for refiling it. Whereas when it is dismissed, that puts an end to it. At the Supreme Court and at the level at which they had, because they had already exchanged briefs. All parties have filed in their briefs, so they've joined issues. Everybody knows that what is left for the parties to do is to adopt their briefs and expect judgment. So if at that point you withdraw, the consequence would be at the Supreme Court, within the rules of the Supreme Court, it's no other option than to dismiss. And the decision to dismiss, like I've said, is usually on the basis of either your own personal conviction or the advice of your lawyers. Both parties, both ends, they have the best of brains. and the best of characters. On the side of Fubara, if you see a Yusuf Ali, anytime, any day, you see an epitome of the standard of the
a man in his all right.
Yeah, it's the what we call the standard bearer of the profession. He's professional, and he's fair, and he has the best of attributes of a lawyer. I can tell you, no matter what you say about the downside of what we as senior advocates do, you won't find a Yusuf Ali there.
Okay.
Definitely, he's the best of characters, and of course you have people like Chris Ute. All of those people there are the best of minds.
Now what do they mean? What do they mean,
and of
Barrister?
course, no, let me finish.
Okay.
And of course, on the side of the State House of Assembly members, you have the doyen of the profession. You have, when I say the doyen, with respect to those who are older than him, but as today is to me the last man standing as where you say the best of the best. That's Chief Wole Olanipekun, and of course you also have people like J.B. Daudu. So when you have a match
Timber
of this
of
nature,
caliber,
and you have that sort of a decision, you can tell that wait for time for you to know the reason, because back-end negotiation, back-end decisions and reasoning too might have taken place to the point that when you come there is a rehearsal. And most of the time we as lawyers, we don't come and do things extempore. Those are things we would have rehearsed, and we take into consideration so many things.
Okay, they said this thing has been overtaken by events, and you said when you have people of maybe equal measure or nearly equal measure coming together, there must be back-end negotiation. Can we now say the outcome is actually a political decision, or is the legal side that took its full course also?
Let us wait for them to tell, because of course from both sides we would get feelers. We just had today, and we know that this is what it is as it is today. So what that one means in law is that the position that is taken, the decision of the Court of Appeal that prevails. And that would mean the position of the 14 members of the House of Assembly prevails. And I think the National Assembly has been, or the State House of Assembly has been taken back to them, surrendered to them as at now, and by virtue of the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which has now been affirmed by the dismissal of the appeal, means that they are back in charge of the affairs of the State House of Assembly.
Okay, I want to quote something here, which Justice Wani Abaji, she said, of course, the court held that Fubara's action violated Section 96 of the 1999 Constitution, which requires at least 1/3 of the Assembly members to form a quorum. She's making reference to Fubara presenting budget to 4-member Assembly, because that was where the crisis started. Now, do you think, I'm taking you to political realm now, because you also depend politicians, when there is the need to do that. Do you think Fubara will work with the Assembly now, the same Assembly that he took to court, maybe for him to now close this chapter? Because in Hausa they said, Kotu Allah Isa, that is Supreme Court. From there, you have no any other option but to accept the will of God.
Yeah, I would answer that, but let me just tell you, since the matter was withdrawn, whatever opinion that is expressed or statement that is made by any of the justices, just for the sake of advising parties, or more or less, usually they have that right. You understand? They are both a court of conscience and a court of law. And so usually they advise you off record to say, now, let's get back to this. The judgment aside, the chair taken aside, and they give you their own personal statement. We lawyers cannot quote that because he's not the president. It's their own personal opinion expressing their own personal views as men of conscience who represent what? The conscience of the society. So they can express that. And I wish you had the opportunity of meeting her. Oh, she's the best of pleasant character. She looks like fine wine, harmless, but decisive and authentic. Now coming back to your answer, I know politicians. I believe in the ingenuity of politicians, and I also admire the survival instinct of politicians. They can reinvent themselves. They have more life than the cat.
Politicians.
Politicians. And I can tell you, Fubara would reinvent himself. He'll need to work with those 14 members, and trust me, he would find a way around them, because the choice is clear. If he doesn't work around them, the danger is there that they might use that auspices of their office and the authority of their arm of government to frustrate his government, and perhaps even go for the jugular. So definitely, I would think that for the good of the state and for the good of himself and for the experience he has had in politics, he would have to make converters.
I'm not privy, but in the eye of law now,
yes,
the budget he expended, because there was actually budget presented to the 4-member, they approved it, and he went into action. You know, we've seen him commissioning roads, inviting people to commission roads, and all that. It's in the eye of law, senior advocate of Nigeria, what is the position of those projects? What is the position of the monies he has spent? Or they also have to deploy political formula to resolve that? Because they said whatever happens without recourse to the assembly is illegal.
Yeah, these are my thoughts. These are not legal thoughts.
Okay, they are your thoughts.
These are my thoughts. His action may be illegal and voided by a court of law, by virtue drawing inferences from this. And I think there is even a sister case, a case also coming from within the same sector that is before the Supreme Court. I think that went on today, that touches on issues, the legality of all of this. They would come. But even if the judgment is made that his action is illegal and that he ought not to have done, and that the 4-member State House of Assembly members could not have conferred legitimacy to the acts that he did. Because mind you, the only way you can act as a governor is when you act within the legitimate presence of the law that created you. You're a creature of the law, and the law empowers you and gives you boundaries. And the law also, by the virtue of the principle of separation of powers, it does not allow you to take holders and perform, either in part or in whole, the function of the other arm of government. That is the basis of it. The only interface or intercourse you have is what? The path to those silos that is created by the principle of what? Checks and balances. But without that narrow path, you cannot perform this. You understand? So, yes, his action can be illegal, but if he has given out contracts and the citizens have, on the basis of that contract, perform those contracts and they've been paid, you don't come and ask them to disgorge it.
Or to reform what
they've done. No,
they
you
have.
cannot. And that is why the law, I think, also tolerate and don't go back on the actions governors take after swearing in up to the point when their election is voided or nullified and voided. You understand?
Yes.
So usually all that backlog or that
actions,
the law authorizes them. You understand?
By virtue of the powers they exude.
The principle there is that governance does not envisage a vacuum. It has to be free-flowing. You understand? So as long as you've given somebody that executive power, he has to perform them because only he can perform executive powers. So if you now create a hiccup to the extent that you interpret the law to mean that governance should have stood still until what? Fubara get reconciled with the State House Assembly, you would have.
And by extension, Wike. I wanted to leave this as my last question.
Not Wike, but now we're talking about the relationship. You would have shut down
because
River
you know
you would have shut down River
State. It is assembly there, but actually the remote control is Wike here.
That's an assumption.
Okay, now, assumption.
We have to
you don't accept that in the eye of law.
No. We don't do that.
Okay, I have this question for you, sir. Fubara did what he did because these members, the other members, you know, cross-carpeted of sort. Members of PDP, they moved to. I mean, they are members of PDP, but they moved to APC.
Do you have evidence of that?
Well, they announced it there. Even the Supreme Court said Mubarak could not. That is why I want to say, when you have seen the fact, obviously, this thing has happened. These people have left.
No, you've not seen the fact. Okay. You've not seen the fact. You're assuming the fact. And mind you, we as lawyers, that's why I love the law. The law usually, it's a very calm thing, even calmer than the way I talk, because, it's self-sustaining, it knows itself self-constituted, it does not suffer emotions and ignorance. We do not have within our law books or in the Constitution cross-carpeting.
It's not there.
It's not there.
Cross-carpeting.
No.
But it's a parliamentary term. While in school, they taught us about it.
No, go back to the older constitutions and see the provisions they've made. Here, the provision speaks to you becoming a member of a political party, whereas what? You were sponsored and got into office through the auspices of another party. You don't become my thoughts.
Okay.
And thankfully, that issue, I do not think is still in court.
Yes.
I can express
that is why we invited you, so we open up, and it's a politics program. We're talking about
so I can express my mind on it. You do not become a member of a political party by verbalizing it. You just come to people. Assuming here now, this is the whole world talking to me now, or I'm talking to the whole world. I say, today, I'm a member of APC. Does that make me a member of APC? No.
How?
By the books. The books are clear as to how you become a member of a you don't verbalize it. It's not like those other times you walk from
here. You have to go and obtain the card. You
get registration from the ward. You take those decisive steps that would define you as a member. Because when you are coming to the court, you are not coming with the evidence and say, didn't you see them on TV? You are going to come with the register of the ward where they become members. And if you have their own membership card, their numbers and everything, you have to tender that. That's the evidence that will conclusively admit your contention that they are now members of XY party. You cannot.
Son, I want to ask this. It's a funny question, but
perhaps they jump the gun. If I were, that's why usually to patience and circumspect in taking actions matter. If I were a very clever governor. I've seen you yawning and inclining to go to another political party, and I want to take this step. I'm going to goad you, support you, and even egg on, go and procure the other persons within the party
Members.
to lure you into performing those rituals till at the time when I now do that, you have the register, I have a certified true copy of the register, I know your membership card and everything, I get all of that, then I now strike. But when you're not, because that's the evidence you are coming to are you coming to come to me if I were a judge to say, because look at
but
me.
Is that
look at, for example,
I have no technicality.
No, it's not technicality.
Because
I'm just telling you.
A large gathering, people
no, that's what I'm saying.
Now say, okay, I have moved from party A to party
Hamza,
B. Yes.
I'm talking honestly here.
Okay.
The said video or the said large gathering you said, I have never watched it. But assuming I'm to be a judge, mind you, that case can come to Abuja here, and the judges are much more even busier than we, the lawyers. How many of them, most of the time, our colleagues who are judges, when you now send this, I say, I have not watched you, can you send me a clip of it? Because they are slaves to their work. You understand? Take a look at me, how depressing my look is. Because what? The last 2 days I have not slept. I've been working from one thing to the other. But these of our colleagues, this is their job, 24 hours, 366 days a year. So most of the time, they are so far removed away from this thing. Somebody will now have to come and call them, say, have you watched this thing? What do you think the implications? They're going to... So what am I saying now? If you now are bringing the case, assuming I'm a federal high court judge sitting in Abuja, you bring that case before me, are you going to tell me about that rumor of that case? So even if you bring the video, you would have to go beyond just bringing the video. You have to prove that, yes.
I really want to get this clear because our viewers are very much interested.
Yeah.
In Rivers, as far as they are concerned, these people have moved from PDP to APC, they announced it. But in the eye of law,
ignorance of the law is not an excuse. And like I said,
can we say the lawyers are actually helping?
No, it is the law. Don't be so harsh on us. Okay. We did not write the law. We did not make the laws.
But can't you save the society from the excesses of politicians?
No, my dear. Can you see the issue here? The state has its powers, right? If you are a lawyer, I would say go to sections 4 to 13 of the Constitution. The powers of the state are all well spelled there. But the Constitution now allocates each one of these powers to a specific body, a specific organ, and specific level of governance authority. It has done so and given them those responsibilities and powers. When they do their job, we lawyers are only what? Helping the parties to understand what is in the books and making prediction. Okay. And we also help the court to arrive at the right interpretation through our own participation and gathering of precedents, just like they do. We are going to the same source that they go. We also go and pick from this and say, take a look at this. When this sort of circumstance happened and this case came up, this is the judgment of the Supreme Court. Okay. And therefore, we should learn from that source to arrive at this decision. That's what we lawyers do, but we do not make the law.
All right, thank you very much. So I wish I have more time for you, but just in a word or two, can we say now, as far as that case in Rivers State is concerned, is over? Just a word, because we have run out of time.
No, if I say so, I won't be talking as a lawyer, because what? I do not know the cause of action. Okay. That cause of action, it is what has been settled. Okay. You understand?
Yes.
There
so we have to wait. Let's wait and see. Will arrive. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Barrister.
Thank you.
Sam Kargbo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
In context to the happenings in Rivers State, and we hope to have you some other time.
Thank you so much. Anytime.